Welcome to the SHAC meeting for March 12th. And we're going to call this meeting to order. It's at 12:01. And on our agenda, we do have a welcome and introductions. Are we going to go around and introduce ourselves? Okay, I'll start then. I'm Michelle Rutherford. I've been on SHAC for a couple of years now. I have a student in SISD. She's a senior this year, and I am also a registered nurse and been a registered nurse since 98. So I'm happy to serve on this committee and do whatever I can to help our students and staff be healthier.
I'm Bethany Logan. I'm the assistant superintendent here at Smithville ISD.
I'm Holly Brockman, principal at the elementary, and then
Raven Behrens, pre-K through 2 counselor, sorry.
Judy Bergeron. Oh, go ahead, Candy.
I told Raven and parent.
Judy Bergeron, director of the Smithville Public Library. So I'm a business/community representative for the SHAC.
I am Candy Bealey. I am the child nutrition director here at Smithville ISD.
Lindsay Saunders. I'm the communications officer for Smithville ISD.
I'm Jill Struby. I'm a guardian of an exchange student in the district right now, and also working with the city, so as a community representative.
Did we get everybody?
Hi, I'm Cherie. I was just waiting to see. I wasn't sure how many people were on the call. This is Cherie. I'm the director of the Rural Health Coalition in Smithville, and here as a community representative as well. My organization is concerned with physical, mental, and financial health of communities of residents in rural areas. So I'm here to listen in and hopefully learn from you guys. Thank you for having me.
I am Jennifer Van Clark, and I'm here helping take notes. Dr. Logan's secretary.
My name is Danette Perez. I am the ACE coordinator for Smithville ISD. I also have a daughter in Smithville ISD.
Oh.
And today we have two special guests with us, Amy Moyer and also Suzanne Van Nelson from CATCH, which is our coordinated approach to childhood health. So welcome.
All right, welcome. Okay, if everyone has introduced themselves, we'll move on to item number 2, approval of minutes from September 25 of 2024 and the February 21st, 2025 meeting minutes that were sent ahead of time. If you've been able to review those and we need to approve those. I need a motion to approve and someone to second that.
I make a motion to approve.
Thanks, Candy.
I will second.
Okay, so motion is approved and seconded. So we will move on to number 3, the coordinated approach to childhood health presentation with Suzanne Van Velsen.
Hey y'all, I'm Suzanne Van Velsen. I am a CATCH community consultant and your Texas point of contact. And joining me today is Amy Moyer. She's our director of partnerships. And what I do is I help to establish and maintain CATCH partnerships with our users. I know that CATCH and Smithville have had a longstanding history, even before I was here. I've been here almost 3 years, but I know that you guys did a pilot program with CATCH. Candy might remember that. and had some grants also that we're able to utilize through Catch. And so I am going to just give you guys an overview of kind of like there's been a lot of changes in Catch, a lot of updates. So they're good changes. And want you to see what the district has available to you guys. And prior to coming to Catch, I was an elementary school teacher for 12 years in Del Valle ISD, not far from you guys. So I've kind of been on both sides and I have a perspective from both ends. So that's where I first was introduced to Catch and fell in love with it and saw the great need for it. So I'm excited to share with y'all today. And let's see, I'm going to share my screen. I'm requesting that. So I think that has to be approved. Okay. Okay.
You should be able to now, right?
Yes, I am. I have a couple of screens, so I might have to jump around. Okay. And so, like I said, we are Catch. I'm gonna actually move this over. Sorry, guys. I have two screens, so if you see me looking to the side, I'm just looking at my other screen there. Okay. So Catch
So we're seeing your
is
email.
a whole child. I'm sorry?
We're seeing your email.
Oh, well, let me see. Let me change that. Stop share. It's strange. Mm. Okay. I guess when I moved it. There you go. Are you seeing? Okay. Okay. Okay, so Catch is evidence-based. Science is at the forefront of what we do. We're only one of 3 approved curriculum in Texas for coordinated school health, which is a mandate that both public and charter schools are subject to. We're the only curriculum that meets both TEKS and coordinated school health. And we have also been adopted by 119 other districts, 1,277 schools in Texas alone. So that includes 10 of the top 15, Houston, Dallas, Cy-Fair, Katy, you name it, and of course, you guys. So Catch really is #1 in the state of Texas, and we're really proud of that. If you are not familiar with Catch, Catch stands for Coordinated Approach to Child Health. And our mission is to empower school communities to cultivate whole child wellness as a lever for school success. What sets Catch apart is that we are the experts in child wellness. We've led the way for the past 30 plus years. We're backed by research with our evidence-based and evidence-informed curricula. Curriculum that keeps students moving, it keeps students on task, and that's what we want. And by design, our curriculum includes effective classroom management strategies, and our highly sought after professional development reinforces classroom management and best practices, and that really brings it all together. That helps drive more activity to get kids moving. It's designed in the curriculum. So we're getting kids more active. We're reducing those elimination games, eliminating team captains and that sort of thing because Catch is for all students and we want all of them moving majority of the time. We are a nonprofit organization, which means that Catch is less expensive than for-profit programs. We're not profit-driven, but again, we're mission-driven, and so the dollars spent on curriculum go back into our organization. I want to show y'all one of my favorite images, okay? I want you to check out this graphic, and I love showing this to educators because if you notice what the brain looks like sitting quietly for 20 minutes as compared to after walking for 20 minutes. Could you imagine what your student academic success would look like if you had more physical activity built into the day, not necessarily just in the physical education classroom, but throughout the day in the general ed classrooms, you can find those little moments of time to get more activity. And so as we move, we're providing oxygen to our brain, priming it for learning. And so it really makes the brain come alive, and that's what Catch does. It helps students have more active brains throughout the day. In addition to that, our professional development, our training is effective for both PE professionals and our general education teachers. And if you look at this graph here, we have proof that we can teach everyone in the school community how to help get kids moving and get that dose of MVPA, which stands for moderate to vigorous physical activity, they need to get for that lit up brain. So you can see that students were more active after in the classrooms after the teachers and PE specialists had the training as opposed to before. So in Smith, you guys had access to all our learnings with teachers and our social and emotional learning. And all of those curriculum work together. We have a curriculum app, and it's also corresponds to our coordination kit. I'll also show you in the coordination kit is something I love the coordination kit because that brings everything together and helps get everyone in the community, everyone is all in alignment with really speaking the same language and modeling catch for the students. Another thing that sets us apart is our proven formula for effective health ed. What are those ingredients that give a positive outcome? One is knowledge. Those are the social determinants of health, and we want to start that early. So that needs to happen as early as pre-K kindergarten. Our skills, it's not just the knowledge, but they need to know how to do what we're teaching them. And then that environmental support from family, teachers, and whole school community. And that equals healthy decision making, and all three elements have to work in tandem. So that said, when students are moving more throughout the day and all teachers and staff are working towards the same goal of environmental change, you see improved academic success as well. I'm going to go direct. Let's see. I'm going to try change windows here and see if that also changes for you guys, because I want to give y'all an overview. I'm going to stop my share real quick of the Catch curriculum so you guys can see what your educators and students have access to. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm getting the right window for you guys. Screen two. And are y'all seeing my dashboard that says welcome back, Suzanne? Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to start with PE journeys. That's probably what most of you might be most familiar with because that's been around the longest is our PE curriculum. I'm going to go to K through 5. And you can see that there's a welcome and overview. We have our journey guides. There's also a teacher orientation, some quick instruction and classroom management techniques, our journey guides and gifts. I really love these little avatars. We have some characters that students will see throughout the curriculum, throughout the lessons, and also in our skills gift library. I love this feature because when the PE educator teaches a skill, let's say you're teaching your students leaping, the teacher obviously can demonstrate and then pull up this gift to have displayed and then walk around the room, check for standing, and students you know, need their friends, they can have our oh, my internet's running a little slow. I'm going to turn my screen off. So there we go. We have principles in practice, and everything that you see here, you can see the little drop down box We have integrating physical activity in the classroom. So I think that's important to share with general ed teachers, reinforcing academic concepts through PE, and just a lot of content, extra, I call them like little extra nuggets there that you can explore. And then we have our standards alignment. Anything that is in green, highlighted in green, is hyperlinked. So you can go here and check to see how the national PE standards are in alignment to our scope and sequence. You can also see the TEKS according by grade level and learning outcomes here. We also have some training information available, and then our scope and sequence. So we definitely recommend following our scope and sequence. However, Catch can be used. You can follow the scope and sequence, or you can choose to use the activities, kind of a la carte, and I will show you that in just a moment. But I want to just jump into this unit to show you guys how that's organized. And you'll see that you have an overview here of the unit. You have your key objectives, some guiding questions, teaching resources. I really love this part here is a PowerPoint for that can be edited. And so if you want to have a word wall, you could certainly go out of that or add or take away words, a social emotional connection at the end of the lesson, as well as an exit ticket. And then you have your grade level differentiation here, and then you have your assessment tools here. At the very bottom is the sample unit. Now, this is based upon a PE schedule that includes 3 classes per week. If your schedule looks different than that, then modifications can be made depending on what that looks like for you. But every lesson is going to start with a warm-up activity, then goes into a go activity, and then the meat and potatoes of the lesson is the go activity, and then you'll end with your cool down. Again, anything in green is hyperlinked, so all the educator has to do is click on that little link there, and it's going to open up to the activity card. It'll show you what equipment is necessary, what skills are being covered, fitness components, the main alignment, and then your lesson plan here. Now, like I said before, you can also do this kind of like an a la carte. If that's how your teachers want to organize their lessons, they can choose a warm-up or cool down from this like little activity bank. And you can see that some of them have video demonstrations or a virtual adaptation or an SEL focus. And then you would go to a Go Fitness. You can choose your activities here. Again, you'll see on the grid all the different activities that we have, and you can build your lessons that way. In addition to that, we have a new feature this year called our Activity Explorer, and educators can simply go here and filter out what they're looking for and really get specific on if they're looking for a specific activity. So you could, if you're looking for a cooperative game, and different skills that you might be working on, or what for different grade levels, or maybe you want SEL reinforcement, you can filter it and you'll see down here the maximum activity results, and then you would search, and all those activities that meet your filters will pop up for you, and you can click on that card and then have that activity lesson for your students. This is all digital. So another thing that I love about this is teachers can pull it up on their cell phone. So if you're outside, because we like to take our kids outside in PE, then teachers can bring their cell phone if they need to look it up, or their tablet or whatever they need to, or they can even print it out. So every page has this little printer icon up here, so anything can be printed out, which I find to be really helpful for substitutes, or if someone else is covering your class for that day, you can simply print it out if you didn't want to have them logging in to the computer. And then I like to point out our supplemental resources. I really love our inclusion and diverse learner resources. You can go here and you have some visual aids for those diverse learners, and then our Catch Inclusion Guide for adaptive PE. And we have a really robust asynchronous training for adapting for students with physical disabilities as well as intellectual disabilities. And you can see this here. So this can be shared with, if you have a inclusion specialist that comes into your gyms, or the PE teacher as well can also make these modifications with this guide. And then that's our PE. Do we have any questions so far about the PE before I move on to health or SEL?
So Suzanne, just so that everybody is aware, we use the Catch PE curriculum and we map it out just like we do with our other curriculum, because we do have to make sure that we're teaching 100% of the TEKS for health and wellness. And of course, our end of year assessment is the fitnessgram in grades 3 through 12, which we measure childhood health and stamina and all the things. But by using that, we make sure that we're making sure that students are ready for those end of year assessments.
Correct. So the PE Journeys curriculum does cover all the skills necessary for the fitness gram. You're right. So they're well prepared from doing Catch, and we do cover 100% of the TEKS, so we're covered there. So I'm going to jump over to Health Ed Journeys. This one is banded together K2, 3.5, and 6.8. So I'll just jump into 3.5. They're all organized the same way. Very similarly, you'll see the table of contents over here to the left. You'll see your introduction and a teacher orientation here. And then something that's unique to Health Ed Journeys that I love is our student workbook. And I will just pop in there real quick. So the student workbook can be shared digitally. It can also be printed out as an entire book, or each individual worksheet can be printed out. And it serves two purposes. It serves as a goal setting tool, and it also has lesson specific activities that reinforce what was taught in the health lesson. And it has all the instructions on how to download that digitally and share with students if you're choosing to do that. If we go into the units, you can see there's always going to be a unit introduction, and all the materials you see here are hyperlinked as well if you need some additional printed resources. And then you have your lessons. So you'll have your lesson overview with the skill objective, big idea, some discussion questions. It shows you each lesson is going to have two activities. So the first activity will be more activity-based. And we have some review and reflect questions, some optional extension activities, grade level differentiation, and then your standard alignments here. And then your lesson is in a PowerPoint, or it can be downloaded as Google Slides. There's also speaker notes and scripts. So it's, your teacher guide right here for you. And each lesson is about 20 minutes long. And this is 36 lessons, so about one lesson per week for the school year. If the educator doesn't have a full 20 minutes to be able to dedicate to an entire lesson, we do have an option of our bite-sized pieces. So these can be broken into, the lesson is broken down into like 5 to 7 minutes. So we've seen this done a lot of different ways. The physical education teacher could certainly do this. That's not always feasible. Sometimes districts have the general education teacher do it, not to add another thing to their plate, right? But a lot of teachers I've seen use this as part of their morning meeting. They use the bite-sized pieces every morning, and seems to work well for them. Or even sometimes a counselor will use this as their lesson. It just kind of depends on who's responsible for teaching health in your district and how what availability you guys have to be able to teach this. And so it can be used a lot of different ways. And then we have at the end of the curriculum, we have our Celebrate Success, because at Catch we are very big on celebrating success and finishing with fun. One of our mottos is if it ain't fun, it don't get done. So we carry that throughout everything we do, right? And then I want to quickly, I know we're running short on time, so I want to make sure I show y'all SEL Journeys and our coordination kit. So SEL Journeys has two pieces, which is a little different from Health Ed Journeys and PE Journeys. There's a teacher-facing component and a student-facing. So the teacher-facing is the teacher guide, and has the journey's overview, how we follow the Castle 5, and it has the teacher lesson plans here. So if you go here to the units, you can pop in and see what you would pull up in the student-facing feature. Your key objectives, big idea, discussion questions, respond and connect. Again, I've seen counselors utilize SEL journeys. I've seen general ed teachers, and I've seen PE teachers do it. It just kind of depends on what works best for your district. And so I'm going to jump into the student facing so you can see what that looks like. And this is for K through 12. You can, I only have one passport on here. However, you can have as many passports as you need for class. If you have 6 classes, and you'll have 6 passports up here, and your students can help you create the name, and y'all can, have fun with it. And so then you would go here to your passport, and I want to point out that for the lower grades, the avatars are the animated characters that I showed you in PE Journeys. And then for the upper grades, we have real live artist-led lessons. And so what I love about this curriculum is that it is dance focused. And the reason for that is because research shows that music and movement results in better student outcomes when it comes to SEL. And so we have combined music and movement through dance. And I'm just going to show you a little example. If you were to choose a destination, and we can choose one of our SEL components, self-awareness, and we'll choose identifying emotions, and it's going to take us there. There's a little intro, a big idea.
Today's journey. Our big idea today is identifying emotion. For example, if you are treated unfairly, you may feel angry, frustrated, or confused. How does your...
And then you'll go to the destination. There'll be a little overview.
Republic, a European country located in a region once called Bohemia.
And so there's a little bit of fun history and cultural facts about where the location that you'll be traveling to.
Get ready to move. Stay to your own personal space.
Watch and follow along as our teachers Nita and Matt show all the steps. Then they'll break it down and we'll try it again.
Most importantly, remember to be kind, stay positive, and have fun.
So then they go through the movements one step at a time. Look. They try the routine again.
Great job with the solo movements.
And then they have some SEL focused activities.
Great job.
Nice job. Time for today's final challenge.
Final challenge.
Practice identifying emotions and connect it to the moves you learned. Okay, now think of a situation that makes you feel strong emotions, such as celebrating your birthday. Now choose one move from today. Let's take a look to remember all the moves so you can pick your favorite. Now try the move you chose and think about how you can do the move while showing the emotions you picked. Now turn to your partner and take turns showing what you practiced.
And then once the journey is complete, they're going to get a stamp in their passport, and the teacher can choose to fill out this little report now, or they can do it later. And we're going to choose do it later. And
so
then
Suzanne, we have a question in chat. Yes, Judy, the version of Catch that is today was not when we first started. I remember the green box, and that's how we started Catch. But her question is the including the expansion of mental health and wellness. Is the research and evolution of Catch an always ongoing thing?
Yes, hi everyone. This is Amy Moyer. I'm happy to help answer some of these questions. Yes, we have university partners with the University of Texas School of Public Health, as well as MD Anderson, who are always looking for opportunities to continue to build our evidence base for Catch.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, and so that is the SEL content. Now I want to show y'all this part I'm very excited about, how it all kind of comes together and you can get everyone involved throughout your community, your families, and your district and campus all on the same page. So this is what we call our coordination kit. This is not a curriculum. This is a guide framework on how to implement coordinated school health within your community and your district. So this is definitely for those who are like the SHAC. Could be helpful for you guys and also for those subcommittees on the campus for coordinated school health. And so you'll see that we have it divided up into 4 sections for each kind of two per semester. And the first component is C-Catch. So that's where adults are modeling healthy behaviors for the students. Then we move into Hear Catch, and that's where everyone's using coordinated language to talk about health. And this is as simple as, I know Candy's familiar with our go, slow, and whoa, right? And I mean, a lot of you might be familiar with that, where it's not just, the students aren't just hearing that in PE or in the cafeteria. There's maybe seeing posters in the hallway that have that. And we do have those print materials available for you in this tile right down here, or yeah, right down here. You can print out, post them all over the school, wherever you see fit, so that everyone's getting used to hearing the same language. And then we move in after Christmas, we move into Do Catch. That's where students and even teachers are being incentivized and rewarded for healthy behaviors. And then the final piece is towards the end of the year, Engage with Catch. And that's your like family fitness night, family health night, where families have opportunities to engage in health and wellness. This was my favorite, not whenever I was teaching. I loved doing we called it Catch Night, and we had families come out, and it was just really fun to see our families, our parents, and our kids interacting and being physically active and having fun together and trying new nutritious foods. So that was a really exciting time for me whenever I was teaching. And then our framework, you can see again, everything's hyperlinked for you. We've done all the work for you, and you can see where we have even the SEL focus and resources here. You have a getting started checklist. You have communication plans throughout the year. There's monthly newsletters you can send out. And then this interactive checklist, I like to pull this up because there's hyperlinks also here on the getting started. There's a letter to the principal about it. There's a faculty presentation to get buy-in, right? So because people are, what is this? How are we going to do this? And this really paints that picture for everyone getting involved. And then your activities and your printable materials. And then you just have a guide for every quarter of the school year for every component. So this is just going to guide you through, and then on how to celebrate and really have that that fun celebratory part that I was telling you is really important to catch. And so I really encourage y'all to dive into that and utilize the coordination kit to bring everything together and get everyone on the same page. Do y'all have any questions so far about that, Bethany? Okay.
I have a question. I'm for some reason I'm blocked in chat, but I was wondering if there's any outdoor activities for the physical activities. Is it always indoors?
That's a great question. Not at all. In fact, I think even most activities you could bring them outside. I'm going to go back into PE journeys. You can do really any of these outside. I like this one can be done inside or outside. I'm going to pull up on the Activity Explorer, and I'm just going to kind of show you one of our very popular ones is called Mingle Mingle. So I'm going to pull that up. And this could certainly be done inside or outside. There's also a video demonstration. And so this one, all they need is cones, right? To have those perimeters, and the students are walking around and to music, and the teacher calls out mingle, mingle, and they have to do a locomotive movement. So walk, jog, slide, hop, that can be done inside or outside. So there's a lot of activities like this that are for both. So you're not confined to just one, environment for the activities.
So there's a question in the chat about if there's a visitor login so that people in the community or people on this committee could actually dig in and look at the resources that are available.
Catch licensing goes per campus. So if you're an educator, administrator, any staff member at a campus, you certainly have access to the curriculum.
So we also have at central office, and if you want to copy like of all the scope and sequences and lessons and those kinds of things, I have them in a binder because I'm old and I need a binder. And so if you want to have a look at the lessons, because they are incredible, and I mean, it is more than we can possibly cover, but it is you know, here at Central, if you'd like to come and have a look, or, you know, if I can hop on a quick Zoom and show you around, I'm more than happy to do that too.
I'll also add that there is some free previews on our website through our Educators Club, and we're happy to send that information to you following today's meeting so you can include it in the minutes.
Are there any other questions?
Well, thank you, ladies, so much for presenting, and we really appreciate you telling us and sharing with us all the information. Michelle, I think we're on to our next item.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you for that presentation. It was great.
Yeah, thank y'all so much.
Next, we're going to move on to item number 4, which is a review of SHAC bylaws and proposed updates. And Dr. Logan, did you want to address this?
You're muted.
Okay, I'm getting my life together, clicking buttons. Okay, so one of the areas that we needed to make sure of, and can you see my screen? Okay, is that the bylaws matched our board policy. And in most cases it did, but there are a few edits that we wanted to make sure that it had the EHAA legal, EFFA legal, and all of those pieces, right? And so a lot of it is matching exactly what is in board policy in the bylaws. So it flows better so that there's not a question of, oh, we have it in one place, but we don't have it in another. Does that make sense? So pretty much it's 4 times annually. That's the law. That's what's in board policy, right? And then talking about a comprehensive health curriculum, specific goals for nutrition and physical activity, standards for food and beverages, identification of the responsible party for implementation of the school wellness, right? And like that's coming straight from policy, right? Of what the SHAC is consulted to do. The other pieces is this just kind of cleared C, goes back to this C, so it's a little bit cleaner and concise. And then again, that we had G that said the same thing about the curriculum and instruction department. So we talked about open meetings and how do we have our sign up for public comment, right? And the voting membership is approved by the Board of Trustees. And then that all matches all the things. And then SHAC members must comply with the district's ethic policies, right? And we've cited all the policies that we have to comply with, right? And then instead of the SHAC coordinator, years ago, if you remember, it was designated as a superintendent's designee because it used to be the head RN in Smithville, right? And then it changed, and then it said assistant superintendent and all of those things so that we don't have to change it. It can be the superintendent's designee because it just makes sense in the language over time. And then let's see, we have the co-chair, chair, secretary, and just cleaning up the language that was redundant to match. And again, we went to BDF legal. Remember that that in page 8 and 9 of the School Health Advisory Council guide, right? They said it should consist of a minimum of 5 and no more than 25. And then BDF legal establishes who is on the SHAC. And officers, same, all of that kind of stuff. Changed it to superintendent's designee. And then I think the only other thing, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, is the standing committee chairs and members shall serve 2-year terms. And then the standing committees, it was just the language that was cleaned up a little bit to match what was in board policy about committees. And so, yep, again, we go back to superintendent's designee, and that's it.
So for the purposes of this meeting, we're just putting it out for more recommendations or further recommendations for updates, and then we'll adopt these at a later meeting.
So we can, let's see, I'm checking to see. I think we need a couple of voting members, but I'd like the committee to review them. The changes, and I can have Jennifer send it out, and then at our next meeting, we can go ahead and vote if that works for everybody else.
That sounds good.
That works for me.
Okay. Perfect. We will send it out.
Okay. So then that brings us to item number 5, information items for the committee. So the report on health fair by Danette Perez.
Hello, everybody. The health fair turned out really great. I think we had around 125 attending. I was hoping for more, but we were, kind of competing almost with opening day. All of those children had to be at opening day, and it was the same day, same time. But we had 30 vendors. The kids that came were able to play games while their parents were walking around getting information on the various health-related resources that we have available in our community. I think there was also a lot of connections being made. I saw vendors being able to talk to each other, sharing business cards, and the feedback we had from both the families who attended and the vendors was really positive. Everybody loved it. Another good thing to come from it is there was a few of the vendors who wanted to adopt our passport that was created that encouraged the attendees to visit everyone. The kids specifically had a lot of fun with that. So does anybody have any questions?
I have a remark. I think 125 attendees for Smithville is pretty good.
Thank you. I set the bar probably too high to just because that's where my brain goes. I wanted to get 500 in there, and that's going to be my goal for next year. And I think Cherie is on this call. We have talked about doing a Bastrop County-wide health fair for next year. So just kind of something to be on y'all's radar as SHAC. If y'all are able to participate in that in the future, that would be amazing.
That will give you your attendance for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds like it went really well. Is there any further discussion on the health fair? Okay, we're going to move on to item number 6, mental health resources. L. Saunders, recap from Lunch and Learn.
Hey, everybody. I will say that I took my kids Saturday to the health fair and they had a blast. So it was a really great event, and I know that it'll just continue to build. So thank y'all for putting that together. So I'm sharing with you guys today a little bit about, so we had a lunch and learn. We've been doing these monthly for a little over a year now. But we've done a couple different things. One was our community partners, which obviously naturally shared some resources that are available in our community for health, mental health, things of that nature. But then we also hosted one that was more focused on mental health resources with our counselors. So we have created a counseling services page on our website, and I'm going to share that with you today just to kind of show you where all of this stuff lives in case, you ever do have a question about any resources available, or if you know of, is my screen coming up? Yes. The website? Okay. If you know of other resources that are available in the community that we do not have listed here, I would love to get that information. I know when I was walking around Saturday at the health fair, I was grabbing brochures and things because I wanted to make sure that everything that was there, we also had up on our website. So I already know that there's some things I need to add. But from our homepage here, if you go to the main menu, under our parents and students section, you can see that there's counseling services here. And this page has a lot of different things on here. First of all, contact information for our counselors and how to get in touch with them at the different campuses. So that is here in this little area and has a little bio about each of them so people can know who they're talking to whenever they get online. Talks a little bit about our trauma-informed practices, which is how we handle things in our district, as well as over here on the right-hand side, you can see it is just a large array of resources and links that are available that we use internally, as well as that are available to our families if they need to access any of these resources in their own time as well. And like I said, this is a constantly changing and growing page, something that we're always adding to, revising as needed. So it's very easy to find, 2 clicks and you can be there, and it's just a good amount of information. So we try to make sure that's available. And again, if you have any questions or suggestions, very much open to that. And are there any questions right now?
I have a question.
Yes.
That last link at the bottom of your screen is a text to, and I have concerns, and I feel like SHAC should be involved in whether or not that's even posted, because within it are links to how to get abortions, how to get them paid for, how to get them out of state, to get transportation. It goes beyond Texas law on abortions for sure. It also has ways to hide the fact that you even looked at that page by a quick exit, and it'll delete the cookies so that your parents can't see that you looked at that page. It just seems very anti-parent and very, the values concern me, and I think that it should be discussed.
Okay. One thing that we can do potentially, and maybe we put this on the next agenda item, is to look at what is recommended by the Health and Human Services, right through and because that runs through the same entities that we work through with the Guide for Texas School Districts, and make sure that that's on their list. That's a really good point, Ms. Hamilton. And
I don't think it's going to be on their list. I'll be very surprised if it is. It's a link to what's called Love is Respect, and it's well known in school districts. It's being very controversial right now.
Well, if you're okay with it, Michelle, can we put that on our next agenda, and I'll come back with a report of what's on HSSD's list?
That sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, are there any further questions?
I had one other question about this resource page was upcoming workshops that will be held in coordination with the juvenile justice mentorship program that the Community Gardens is doing. I know I've seen it posted somewhere on the Smithville ISD pages, but this might be a good place to add it as well.
Sure, absolutely. Yes, I try to send any of those items that come out through our Peach Jar. I try to send the flyers out through Peach Jar so that it goes to all of our families, and then also to share anything on Facebook that would apply to our families. I try to make sure to pull those over, so as much as possible. So
thank you. It is appreciated.
yes.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, so this moves us to item number 7, public comments. And a link was sent out in the agenda for anybody who wanted to sign up. And I believe we just have one person that has signed up, Candy Beely. And I'm going to hand that over to Candy and Dr. Logan.
So Candy, the public comment is based on the agenda of coordinated approach to health, and you're talking about the child nutrition side, and your time for 3 minutes starts now.
Okay, thank you. Well, no matter your political view, something is kind of disturbing for us in child nutrition right now is the fact that we had the previous year a grant that was given to all states for local food purchases. And with this, we at Smithville ISD were able to purchase around $65,000 worth of local produce, that being Texas olive oil, honey, beef, chickens, egg, different, all types of things, produce, all Texas. It's hard for us sometimes to get those local items because they are a little more expensive, but because of the fact they aren't a manufacturer or a distributor that we're used to having all the time. So it's really going to hit us really hard in this area because our funding has not really increased much. So it's hard to continue those relationships with those farmers, as well as our concern of the farmers who were really planning to produce things for schools. These local items are great for us. They're beneficial for the kids to have things that are actually Texas grown. And so if you are one to send out letters or to write to any government official, be it national or state, we at this time are just asking anyone that we can to send that in, even statewide, with Texas being a very large agriculture state, to maybe pick up that slack somewhere to help us in our schools to try to continue those relationships with these local farmers, continue to get these local products in. We can only grow so much in our gardens, and the other items we have to supplement are not from Texas. This way we can continue with Texas type produce. And so to do that, we are going to need to have some type of extra funding, some kind of help in that way through government assistance in some way with our program. And so districts, matter of fact, our School Nutrition Association is in Washington right now, trying to see what we can do, talking to people for that. So like I said, all it is if you are one who is a letter writer, who is one to send something out for the Child Nutrition Department, because it is something very important to our kids. And the fact our children have really enjoyed and expressed so much enjoyment from this local produce has just been so beneficial. And so that's all I have, just putting that out there for anyone who might be interested. You can contact me if you want more information about this. I'll be glad to give you any information we can. So like I said, even a school our size was able to, even local juice, Texas juice, we had $65,000.
All right, Miss Candy, we're good. We're at 3. You did good.
That sounds great.
Is that a federal grant and we no longer get it? Is that what you're saying?
It was just cut 2 days ago.
Oh, and okay. And then we don't have anything similar at a state level? Okay.
I have
So
a
we would write
question.
our legislators.
Do we know the name of the grant that was cut so we can refer to that in our letters?
Yes, it is the local food supply grant.
Food supply grant. And that was federal?
Yes, it was a federal that was put down to each state, a certain amount to each state. Then it was distributed to us through the state. And it was the local food for schools.
Okay. And did our school district lose 65,000, or was that the entire grant?
That was our
For this-
grant that we were able to spend
Oh my
just
God.
in local foods.
Wow.
In a matter of the end of last year, and then up until this last week, we spent our last penny of that one.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money. Okay.
A lot of local food was purchased. Yes.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Okay, so we're going to move on to number 8, agenda items for our next meeting. We are adding the item we talked about, looking into the link that was discussed a few minutes ago, and Dr. Logan will research that and give us information at our next meeting. Anyone else have anything to add to the agenda for our next meeting?
Joe, can we add establishing at least 2 health and wellness goals for our district needs assessment? Because not only does board policy tell us we have to have health and wellness goals, I think that those goals should be in our district improvement plan. And so I'll send out with the agenda what we currently have in the district improvement plan. And then we can talk through, okay, how do we adjust it to meet our needs? Because they haven't been updated in a long time.
Now, I will say that we also, was going to add that, and it may go right with what you're saying, Dr. Logan, is we need to do our triennial assessment of our wellness policy. And so I will be doing the research on that and bringing that forward to the SHAC with any suggestions for adjustments to make in that triennial assessment.
That works.
Okay. Any further comments or discussion? Okay, that brings us to number 9, adjourning the meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I will make that motion to adjourn.
Okay, do I have someone second that motion?
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Candy. All right, thank you, everybody. Great meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.